Yo, I think it's finally time to make this video. It's about to be a long one, so definitely like, comment, and share. It's all going to make sense at the end, so stick with me. I already showed and proved to y'all who the god of Venus is, Queen Elizabeth. I already showed and proved who the god of Jupiter is, King Charles. Now I'm about to show and prove who the god of Mars is. Take a wild guess. Elon Musk. He is the god of Mars in the flesh, inside a human vessel. The L in his name is making it known that he is a god. The spirit of Mars is also known as Archangel Michael, Ra, Azazel, Enoch, Metatron, Noah, Marduk, and Alexander the Great. Now imagine all these names being the straw man of Mars. And keep in mind, if you have a spirit, you are a god. And you are able to change vessels and reincarnate. So check it, it was a book written in 1949 called The Mars Project, later rewritten and published in 2006 as Project Mars, a technical tale by Werner von Braun, who is a German scientist who started NASA after we lost World War II. Also the brother to Hitler's wife, Eva von Braun, who is also Obama's grandmother. They are a big part of the takeover, clearly. This is why we had the Warner Bros., Time Warner Cable, Pop Warner, etc. It all stems from this name. Also, you can see the other names as they the head of the EU Commission, NATO, and the Secretary of the United Nations after we lost the war because they took over all the world governments. So inside this book, it basically talks about the first human mission to Mars. It also mentions how someone named Elon would be chosen by the Martian government to administer laws. Now think about how this book was actually written in 1949, and everything is appearing to be true. So essentially, the Mars Project is SpaceX Mars colonization program. The main motivation is to make humans multiplanetary, in which secures long-term survival, in case if Earth rid itself of humans. If y'all want to know why Mars, here's SpaceX reasons. It's similar to Earth in ways. Now, according to NASA, Mars is the only planet we know of inhabited entirely by robots. Now, keep in mind of things like the metaverse, Neuralink, cryptocurrency, GMO foods, and transhumanism. I'm going to get on that later. And there's a reason Trump declares Elon Musk is not going to be the president among ongoing taunts of who really is in charge. It is becoming apparent and obvious that Elon Musk has way more power than what people really think. Now, I want y'all to check out this clip of what his mother said some years back.
Save the planet and then explore another planet, and so that civilization can be saved.
So let's start from the beginning. Before the war in heaven that separated us from our spirits, there is the one living God who is the creator of everything. There is man who is the only image of that one living God. Then there's the Pleiadians, who looks like the image of man but does not have the same type of melanin. And then there's the Greys, who we think are the aliens, the ones with the big heads and big eyes. These three, man, Pleiadians, and Greys, are the original creations of heaven, meaning they was not created, they was not born, they were manifested as the original energy. One of the Greys, called God El, also known as Jacob or Yakub, created a magical freshwater dragon with a spirit called Neptune, also known as Amon, Adam, and Yahweh, who is the first creation of the underworld. Neptune then created Mars, who is the second creation of the underworld, a golden magical fire dragon, the god of war and chaos. As I mentioned earlier, they're also known as Archangel Michael, Ra, Azazel, Enoch, Metatron, Noah, Marduk, and Alexander the Great. So since Mars is the god of war and chaos, he went on a chaotic spree of creations, till eventually Saturn was created. His actions in turn enslaved everyone, starting the war. Now check out how they describe Mars. It's orange and red because it's covered in iron oxide. In government documents and random stories I've read and heard, talks about Nibiru being an orange-red planet with an iron oxide field of debris and asteroids. meaning Nibiru is Mars, meaning Planet X is Mars. Hence the reason Elon basically recreated NASA and calling it Planet X because it's Mars. It's the reason he changed Twitter to X to represent Mars. So in Revelations, when they say the moon and the seas turn to blood, as in red, and the stars are falling, they are talking about the approach of Mars because it's effects of the debris field. So we all know Archangel Michael is depicted as the protector of humanity. He's a chief of the angels and archangels. Angels are the ones born of positive polarities, spirits from heaven, while archangels are negative polarity, spirits from the underworld that learn to be positive. Israel, as I always tell y'all and prove to y'all already, that they are the hybrid humans, which are the ones that mix with their serpent race. To keep it simple, all the people that's not completely melanated, the lighter races. So he's basically trying to save you from Saturn's illusion, which basically coerce you into be negative polarity, which is this world we're in right now. Also, the reason why he's chief of all the angels and archangels is because he's the second in command. Also, the second in creation of the underworld that I mentioned earlier. Now we have Ra that ruled parts of the underworld, the sky, which is their heaven, not ours, and also ruled the earth and underworld. He was believed to have ruled as the first pharaoh of ancient Egypt, which is America. As y'all can see, he can come in many forms. As I said earlier, he can switch vessels like a straw man. He can merge with Horus, which is Mercury, also known as Jesus, and be known as Ra, Hora, Kate. He can also merge with Amon, who is Neptune, also known as Adam, to create Amun Ra, who is depicted as the strongest god of the underworld, because these are the first and second creation of the underworld. Also, it says all forms of life were believed to have been created by Ra. Now, remember I said earlier that Mars went on a chaotic spree of creation. This is what they're talking about. Now we have Azazel, a fallen angel responsible for giving humans forbidden knowledge. It goes on to describe how male goats were sacrificed and given to Yahweh, who is Neptune, the first creation of the underworld, and the other was given to Azazel, who is the second creation of the underworld. That is why they were chosen. Now it gets a little deeper. He also made it with human women and taught that offspring the art of war, corrupting humanity, which is why he's stuck here with us now until Judgment Day, which ultimately leads him to correcting his mistakes. Hence why in this world, he's trying to save the humans by changing their DNA and taking away the image of man to make them transhuman to survive in a new world. Now we have Enoch. He was taken up to heaven alive and appointed to be chief of the archangels. He was also known as Metatron, the angel that commands God's word. If you haven't noticed by now, all these figures I mentioned are the chief of angels. And I'm going to add this. He got taken away because he was a righteous man but easily swayed to return to evil. This is what I mean by the archangels being of negative polarity. So they have to work on being positive because it's not in their base nature like the original angels from heaven. Also, he is one of the two chosen by God to be a messenger. The other one being Elijah, who is really the spirit of Saturn. This is why Mars fought Saturn in the war in heaven, because they had the same knowledge from their God. So now we have Noah, and apparently Noah's flood happened on Mars, and all the creations was brought here to Earth, including their survival human race that descended from his three sons, who is Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, Satan, Baal, and Jesus. And now we have Marduk, when it's literally in his name. It's the Duke of Mars, meaning the highest hereditary hierarchy title of Mars. As y'all can see, it's a god of creation. As I mentioned earlier, he went on a chaotic spree of creation. They list Enki and Ea, who is Neptune, as the father, who is the first creation of the underworld. And as I stated plenty of times already, Mars is the second creation of the underworld. Also, Marduk is directly associated with Nibiru. And as I stated earlier, it is Mars. Now we have the Alexander the Great, who is listed as the son of Amon, and Amon is Neptune. Also the son of Zeus, who is Jupiter. This is what happens when they cross in between worlds. When they cross into their heaven, he's the son of Neptune in dragon form. When he crosses to the underworld, he's the son of Jupiter in human form. Also, he is known as the greatest military general, just like everyone else I mentioned, because he is the god of war and chaos. So I'm gonna try to keep this simple for y'all. If y'all want to see the full details of this actual visualization right here, right? Go look at the video, 400 Years of Slavery. I go in extreme detail about what this is. But I'm gonna jump down here to the third world, where the war happened. So this is the original race of humans and the angels that made it with the humans that I got labeled as gods. The original humans are the black people around the world, and the gods are the humans that mix with the angels, and also the angels that mainly reside in America, the ones we call quote unquote African Americans. So currently we're in the fourth world, and Satan's offspring is here, and they are called the Israelites. He opened the door for the dragons to come into human vessels. He's the first half dragon, half man, meaning he's the first serpent, the first reptilian. So as y'all can see, within the Israelites' name, it has the elites, who we clearly know runs the world. It's because they are the leaders of the 7 races from the 7 reptile planets. That's not of the melanated community. This is why racism exists, because they try and take you from over here to over here, which is being called religion. So if you was religion, and it's a very good possibility because you can either go negative or positive because you have blood of the dragons. This is why I have the judgment, because the judgment is for them. All of us, the original humans and gods, the quote unquote black people, are all going back to heaven because we were the ones enslaved. The Israelites have to face judgment because of the mixed blood, and you could possibly be negative polarity, meaning you didn't even realize these group of people was enslaved the whole time you were alive. That book we call the Bible, and that judgment is for the Israelites. It is not for this race of people right here who are the original humans and gods that was on earth already, because they took over. Well, the races that actually created the Israelites. So if you learn right from wrong, as in you realize that these group people was enslaved, and you start to help out to get away from this judgment, you will become a god also, because you have the blood of man also. But if you don't realize, you become a transhuman, and this word goes right back to Elon Musk, because he's saving you from being non-existent. But you are going to the underworld. Because like I keep telling y'all, the whole system is rigged. Republican and Democratic, both of them are on the same side. And it's all to get you right here to the underworld. So yeah, clearly, history is repeating itself for its last time. Next, I'm going to tell y'all who is the god of Saturn, or at least who was the god of Saturn during our lifetime. I promise you, it's going to surprise you, but it's not going to be surprising at the same time. Anyways, y'all know how to keep it. Y'all be gods. Peace.